Can I ask you, in terms of the police, have you received an apology from the police?
Do you think the police should apologise?
My opinion doesn't matter. I'm asking.
Your opinion does matter because you cheered them on at the time. So I think that the police should apologise, but so should you.
Harvey, I wasn't there.
Well, no, your network. Would you like an apology from Channel 7 and the rest of the mainstream media?
I would like an apology from all of mainstream media.
Yemini for Rebel News outside the county court here in Melbourne, Australia at Nick Patterson's discontinuance hearing, where he's fighting to keep the case open because Nick doesn't want the police to just be able to discontinue. He wants actually a verdict of non-guilty, and his legal team have now won the ability to file submission. We'll be back in court to follow that. Now we're here to speak to Nick as he exits the court following his sensational ruling vindicating one of the staunchest freedom fighters during COVID-19.
What the police have done is it's wrong in so many ways. We're raising some points about that. We're going to put some submissions in, and I'm hoping that we can get a ruling that's going to be very powerful, that's going to do a lot for the people to have their freedoms in the future protected. I was bashed because I was running rallies, and this will continue to happen if we don't get a ruling and a judgment that's very clear, that at least puts some fear into the police officers in the future that, hey, this, you could be prosecuted, or hey, you can't do these particular things to people just because you've got a uniform. It doesn't give you the ability and the power to do this, because you will be found guilty. We cannot allow the state to weaponise the police against us just because we have a difference of opinion. So we need to knock them down a few pegs, and we need to just stand firm and not quit up.
I just find it interesting. So Channel 7, I can see, is here. We've been covering this story from the beginning. Have you had an apology from the mainstream media for the fact that for 3 years they've defamed you, hit piece after hit piece, and then it's turned out in a scathing ruling that you've not only been vindicated, that in fact you were the victim, that they cheered the government, the police on at the time, and defamed you as you were jailed for a crime you didn't commit. In fact, you were the victim. Have you had an apology before a question?
No, I haven't.
Do you want to apologise?
No, I don't.
Why don't you want to apologise for what your network did to this man and to all those people during COVID who were victimised by the police? Just say sorry on behalf of your network.
I'm here to ask Nick a question, and I think he's happy to answer the question. Yeah. Why aren't you happy with a discontinuance?
I want a verdict. I don't want them to. I don't want to have them being able to hold these charges over my head and be able to reinstate them whenever they want.
The discontinuance is a new process that was brought in by government, which takes away finality from any case, and it allows them to recharge anytime they want. It'll be hard for them to do it, but they can do it, and it deprives them of other things like, I've been found not guilty. It's all suspended. We've just withdrawn because we feel like it, see?
Can I ask you, in terms of the police, have you received an apology from the police? Will you be seeking damages from the police?
I don't answer that question. No, you can't answer that question.
What about the apology? Have you?
Look, I think an apology is always a great thing. It shows that there's some penitence for the crimes that have been committed, but it also requires the fruit meat for that repentance, which means that they need to make things right. And that hasn't happened. That they haven't made any, concessions to anything really, and they haven't offered an apology. So I haven't got any of that yet, and I don't believe that I will until we finish the course, which obviously we've got to come back to court in June.
Do you think the police should apologise?
My opinion doesn't matter. I'm asking.
Your opinion does matter because you cheered them on at the time. So I think that the police should apologise, but so should you.
Harvey, I wasn't there.
Well, no, your network. Would you like an apology from Channel 7 and the rest of the mainstream media?
I would like an apology from all of mainstream media who did write beat-up pieces and report beat-up pieces, but I'm very grateful that they're here reporting honestly, and I'm grateful for that.
Why do you think they've changed of heart now?
I think the whole narrative has changed. I think the false narrative has been broken down, and now people...
always comes out.
Does it matter more now than it did 3 years ago when you...
No, not at all.
Can I ask you, how did that affect, what happened on that day? How did that affect you?
You saw it. You cheered the police on.
I wasn't there.
Your network cheered the police on. It was clear from the beginning that you were innocent. Look, anybody with two eyes could see what happened on that day. Why is it now they're walking away? Why do you think Channel 7 refused at the time. How many hit pieces did Channel 7 do? How many hit pieces?
Definitely 2.
2 hit pieces Channel 7 did on Nick at that time. Do you feel bad now that it has been proven?
I wasn't there.
So it's not your fault. So if your colleague did it,
I have no idea what
the network, are you not embarrassed to work for a network that from the beginning saw, like the rest of us, what had happened, but refused to report the truth?
we did report the truth.
You did report the truth. You just said you did report the truth when it's clear that you
Everything
didn't.
I've done is reporting the truth.
No, your network. That network did not report the truth. You have to admit that.
I'm here
They're
trying to do.
doing the right
I'm trying to do
now.
the.
I'm grateful for that.
Better late than never, eh? I'm sorry to ruin your press conference there, but I just think that being part of Channel 7, when he admits he knows what they did at the time, and then suddenly to say now, wash his hands dry of what happened then, I get you're grateful that he's here now. I still think that they need to be held accountable for what they did at the time as well, no?
Yeah, look, what they did was wrong. Channel 7, Herald Sun, all of them, they were doing beat-up pieces. But you know what? If we can get them to report honestly and truthfully, I think this is going to be damning to the people who really were the real, I think the biggest problem, which was the police, the tactical police specifically, but the police in general at that time that enforced the madness on all of the people.
How do you feel seeing that suddenly your husband's not the villain in the mainstream media?
Good. I'm not one to watch mainstream anyway, so it's hard. But I'm glad that certain things are being put in straight, and it's amazing to see the script change. And it's funny, I think, even more so to see people forget about how it was once said.
Look, at the end of the day, yes, they're doing the right thing now. After the COVID narrative, as Nick says, has gone away, faded away, now the state doesn't need them to protect their narrative. And Nick's here, and it's not his fault because he wasn't technically the one to report it, but he still works for a network that did it, committed the crimes. Now, if you work for a crime syndicate, you are just as culpable. If you think it's important to hold the mainstream media accountable for their role during COVID, make sure to like, comment, but most importantly, share it far and wide, because I know the narrative has changed and suddenly they flip their own script, but they're pretending it never happened. So it's up to you guys to spread it far and wide. And then if you appreciate what Rebel News has done here over the past few years and want to help us now build our new studio so we can lock it here in Australia, go to buildourstudio.com. We're about halfway there, a bit more than halfway there, but we need your help to finish the job. Buildourstudio.com. All the details are there. We cannot do it without you. And unlike the mainstream media, we will always tell you the truth. Buildourstudio.com. Help us get the truth out there.